Philippians 1 verse 6 says, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. It was a stormy day in mid-May when my college plans completely fell through. It became apparent that my trajectory to go to community college for a year and transfer to Southern was not going to work out. I had no driver's license and no opportunity to get one, and so I had no way to get to community college. I had missed the deadline to pay the down payment for Southern since I applied for the following year, and therefore could not make that my second option. I remember my mom and I, the two night owls of the family, were up at like 11 p.m. sitting in our camper kitchen, and I was talking to my mom like, there's nothing else, I don't know what to do now. And so she looked at me and she's like, well, you could take a year off school and help around the farm. I literally stared at her. And she's like, or you could go to Weimar. And now, the reason I wanted to go to community college in the first place for a year is because I didn't want to leave home for super long and not see my family. Like, to me, that was like the worst thing ever. And also, I had a 2-year-old sister, and I was afraid that she would forget me if I left. And so my response to my mom was, no, I don't want to go all the way across the U.S. Never. I said to her. And to me, leaving was like the worst thing. And I'd never been away from home more than 5 weeks before. And my mom said, pray about it at least. What if it's where God wants you to be? Would you be willing to go? And I thought about it, and I said yes. I would be willing to go if that's where God wanted me to be. But in the meantime, I was searching for any other alternative to the isolation of extreme distance from my family. So the next night, Mom was on the phone with a recruiter from Weimar and called me over. And the more he spoke, the more excited my mom became, and the more dismayed I became. None of the other things I was trying to do were working out. I tried desperately to find another way, but this seemed like it might work out, and I was afraid it would. My mom got off the phone, and she was literally ecstatic. She's like, I'm sure God wants you to be at Weimar. I was a little bit annoyed. I was really shook. I literally remember going to the bathroom and praying, Lord, please don't make me go to Weimar. Like, that's so far away. But the more I prayed, the more I felt like that's where God was leading me. So after praying that prayer several times, please don't make me go to Weimar, I finally was like, okay, fine, Lord, if I have to go to Weimar, please let one of my friends come with me so I won't be by myself, so I don't have to go so far by myself. But you know those prayers where you feel like your words are hitting the ceiling because you know you're praying for the wrong thing. And that's literally how I felt. So after some time praying these my will prayers, I stopped. And in my mind, I thought, God's going to send me to Weimar, and he's going to send me alone. I realized it. It was clear. Just as clear as the day on August 16, 2016, when a semi-depressed looking 18-year-old in a purple t-shirt with her arm interlocked with her mother's walking onto a sunny campus in California. And that was the beginning of the hardest and happiest journey of my life so far. I remember how hard I cried when my mom left. 3,000 miles away from home, but it was time to grow up, and grow up I did. And the more time I've spent here, the more I've realized that this is exactly where God wanted me to be. I should not have made it this far, but God finished the work in miraculous ways. Even with sometimes borderline grades, God was faithful. Even with a bill that was impossible to pay, God was faithful. Even with having to leave the country right before finals week, God was faithful. Even with going through an experience where I couldn't sleep or study, barely, in the middle of nursing school, God was faithful. And when I was too slow to take 5 patients, God was faithful. Because when you are where he wants you to be, and you remain where he wants you to be, he will always, always take care of you. Thank you.